Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow." Born in the small German town of Rocken in 1844, Nietzsche was raised in a deeply religious household, with his father a Lutheran minister. Yet it was an environment that nurtured a burgeoning intellectual curiosity. His early education was steeped in the classics, his fascination with literature and philosophy blossoming amidst the musty pages of ancient texts. The works of Homer, Plato, and Socrates were his companions, their ideas the kindling to his intellectual fire. By his late teens, Nietzsche was studying classical philology at the University of Bonn, a subject that married his love for ancient literature and language. But this was merely the beginning. Nietzsche's precocious nature and voracious appetite for knowledge propelled him into the depths of philosophical exploration. From an early age, Nietzsche was a man destined for deep thinking, his precocious nature leading him down a path of profound philosophical exploration. Nietzsche's love for words was not just confined to their meaning, but their origins. This led him to philology, but philosophy was calling. Nietzsche's fascination with language and culture initially directed him towards philology, the study of language in written historical sources, a field where he excelled remarkably. However, as he delved deeper into his studies, he found himself drawn to the more profound existential questions of life, which led him to the realm of philosophy. In his early 20s, Nietzsche secured a professorship at the University of Basel, where he taught classical philology. Yet his intellectual curiosity was veering towards philosophy. The boundaries of philology felt restrictive. He longed to expand his horizons, to explore the abstract and the unknown. Two individuals greatly influenced Nietzsche's transition: Richard Wagner and Arthur Schopenhauer. Wagner, a famed composer and conductor, became a close friend and confidant. Their long philosophical discussions on art, culture, and life stirred Nietzsche's thinking, pushing him towards deeper introspection. Schopenhauer, on the other hand, was an influence posthumously. Nietzsche discovered Schopenhauer's works in a second-hand bookstore, and he was immediately captivated. Schopenhauer's philosophy, with its pessimistic view of the human condition and its emphasis on individual will, resonated deeply with Nietzsche. These interactions and influences guided Nietzsche as he began to formulate his own philosophical ideas. He began to question, to challenge, and to redefine traditional notions of morality, truth, and existence. His philosophical musings started to permeate his academic work, and soon the line between his philological studies and philosophical explorations began to blur, and thus Nietzsche, the philologist, started to transform into Nietzsche, the philosopher. This transformation, however, was not an abrupt one. It was a gradual process, akin to a river slowly carving its path through a mountain. His philosophical journey was a testament to his intellectual prowess, his insatiable curiosity, and his courage to challenge established norms. Nietzsche's transition from philology to philosophy was not sudden, but a gradual shift, like a river carving its path through a mountain. Nietzsche's philosophy was radical, controversial, and groundbreaking. He challenged the foundations of Christianity and traditional morality. Friedrich Nietzsche, a name synonymous with deep and radical thought, was always pushing the boundaries of conventional wisdom. His ideas, bold and often unorthodox, were a breath of fresh air in the world of philosophy. One of his key philosophical ideas was his critique of religion, specifically Christianity. Nietzsche saw religion as a tool used by the powerful to control the masses. He challenged the idea of God and the afterlife, famously proclaiming that God is dead. He believed that the belief in an afterlife detracted from the importance of living our current life to the fullest. Nietzsche also had a unique perspective on morality. In his work Beyond Good and Evil, he argues that morality is not a universal truth, but rather a subjective construct that varies from one individual to another. He suggested that what we consider to be good or evil is heavily influenced by our societal and cultural norms. His critique didn't stop at religion or morality. Nietzsche also had a lot to say about contemporary culture. He observed a decline in individualism and a rise in herd mentality, where people were more inclined to follow the crowd than to think for themselves. He feared that this lack of individual thought was leading to a society of mediocrity. Perhaps one of the most fascinating and controversial aspects of Nietzsche's philosophy is his concept of the Übermensch, or the overman. The Übermensch is a person who has transcended the boundaries of traditional morality and societal norms to create their own values. This person, according to Nietzsche, would be the next step in human evolution. Nietzsche was not one to follow the crowd. His philosophy was his own, unapologetic and thought-provoking. He encouraged us to question everything, to challenge our beliefs, and to always strive for truth, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. Nietzsche introduced a new way of understanding morality, dividing it into master and slave morality. To comprehend this, let's first take a step back and understand that Nietzsche fundamentally saw morality as a human construct, a product of our minds, not an inherent truth of the universe. Now imagine a world where two distinct moral codes exist. The first, Nietzsche termed as the master morality, a moral code born out of strength, power, and a celebration of self. It's the morality of those who lead, who create their own values, who live life according to their own terms. It's the morality of the will to power, a phrase Nietzsche used to describe the driving force behind human behavior, the unending desire to overcome obstacles and achieve personal success. Contrast this with slave morality. Unlike master morality, which is proactive, slave morality is reactive. It's a moral code that rises out of the resentment of the oppressed, the weak, those who are dominated by the masters. The values here are inverted. What the masters see as good, the slaves see as evil. For them, good is anything that alleviates their suffering, and evil is anything associated with their oppressors. Nietzsche argued that these two moralities clashed, leading to a revaluation of values. This upheaval of values was a reaction to the dominance of the masters, a way for the slaves to regain some sense of control over their lives. He believed that this shift was not a sign of progress, but rather a symptom of societal decay, a decline into mediocrity and a rejection of the will to power. Nietzsche's philosophy was not just about understanding the world, but challenging it. His ideas continue to provoke thought and discussion even today. Indeed, his concepts of master and slave morality force us to question our own moral codes, to explore where they come from, and to consider whether they serve us or whether we serve them. In the words of Nietzsche, we should consider every day lost on which we have not danced at least once. With this, we conclude our exploration of the philosophy of Friedrich Nietzsche, a journey that took us through the landscapes of his early life and his shift from philology to philosophy. We delved into his radical critique of religion and morality, challenging the conventional wisdom of his time and even today. Nietzsche's provocative concepts of the Übermensch and the master and slave morality, though controversial, have left an indelible mark on philosophical discourse. These ideas, like Nietzsche himself, danced on the edge of societal norms, pushing us to question our own understanding of morality and the meaning of life. Nietzsche's philosophy isn't just a historical curiosity, but a living challenge to each of us every day. In exploring Nietzsche's philosophy, we not only learn about his radical ideas, but also challenge our own understanding of morality and the meaning of life.